The sun was setting over a small village, casting a warm orange glow over the thatched roofs of the houses. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming cherry blossoms and the sound of children's laughter. In a small house on the edge of the village, a kind old man named Hiro lived with his wife, Yumi. They were a gentle couple, loved by everyone in the village, and their house was always filled with the delicious smell of freshly cooked rice and the sound of soft music. Hiro was a skilled craftsman, known for his beautiful wooden carvings, and Yumi was a talented weaver, famous for her stunning silk fabrics. They lived a simple life, surrounded by nature and the people they loved. As the sun began to set, Hiro and Yumi would often sit on their porch, watching the stars twinkle to life in the night sky. They would talk about their day, sharing stories and laughter, and feeling grateful for the peace and happiness that filled their lives. One evening, as they were sitting on their porch, a gentle breeze carried the sound of footsteps along the path that led to their house. The footsteps were light and careful, as if the person walking was trying not to disturb the peaceful atmosphere of the village. Hiro and Yumi looked at each other, wondering who could be visiting them at such a late hour. As the footsteps grew louder, they saw a young woman, dressed in a simple but elegant kimono, walking towards their house. Her face was calm and serene, and her eyes sparkled with kindness. Who could this be? Hiro wondered, smiling at Yumi. Yumi shrugged, and they both waited quietly as the young woman approached their house. As she reached the porch, she bowed gently and introduced herself. "My name is Emiko," she said, her voice soft and melodious. "I am a traveler, and I have been walking for many days. I saw your house from afar, and I was drawn to the warmth and peace that surrounds it." Hiro and Yumi exchanged a warm glance, and Hiro invited Emiko to join them on the porch. As they sat together, Emiko told them about her journey, about the people she had met and the places she had seen. Hiro and Yumi listened attentively, feeling a deep connection to this young woman who seemed to carry a sense of calm and peace within her. As the night wore on, they offered her a cup of tea, and Yumi brought out a beautifully woven blanket to keep her warm. Emiko smiled, feeling grateful for the kindness of these strangers who had welcomed her into their home. As they sat together, watching the stars twinkle above, Hiro began to tell a story. "There is an old saying in our village," he said, his voice gentle and soothing. "Oni wa Uchi Fuku wa Soto." It means that the demons are inside, but good fortune is outside. Emiko listened intently, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "What does it mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Hiro smiled, and began to explain, his words weaving a gentle spell of peace and wonder. As Hiro spoke, the night air grew softer, and the stars shone brighter. Emiko listened, entranced, as he told her about the old saying. "It means that we all have our own struggles and fears inside," he said, "but when we go outside, we can find good fortune and kindness. We can find beauty in nature, and love in the people around us. Emiko nodded, her eyes never leaving Hiro's face. She felt a sense of wonder, as if she was discovering a secret that had been hidden inside her all along. Yumi smiled, watching Emiko's face light up with understanding. She poured another cup of tea and handed it to Emiko, who took a sip, feeling the warmth spread through her body. As they sat together, the sound of crickets filled the air, and the scent of blooming flowers wafted through the garden. Hiro continued his story, telling Emiko about the villagers who had found good fortune outside their doors. He told her about the farmer who had discovered a hidden spring, and the child who had found a rare bird's nest. Emiko listened, feeling her heart fill with joy and her mind fill with wonder. She felt as though she was a part of the village, connected to the people and the land. Yumi noticed the look on Emiko's face and smiled. She knew that Hiro's story had touched Emiko's heart, and that she would never forget this moment. As the night wore on, the conversation turned to Emiko's journey. She told Hiro and Yumi about the mountains she had climbed, and the rivers she had crossed. She told them about the people she had met, and the lessons she had learned. Hiro and Yumi listened, fascinated, as Emiko's words painted a picture of a world full of beauty and wonder. They asked her questions, and she answered, her voice filled with laughter and curiosity. The night air grew cooler, and Yumi brought out a soft blanket to wrap around Emiko's shoulders. Emiko smiled, feeling grateful for the kindness of these strangers who had become like friends. As the stars reached their peak in the sky, Hiro stood up and invited Emiko to walk with him in the garden. The moon was full, casting a silver glow over the flowers and trees. Emiko walked beside Hiro, feeling the soft grass beneath her feet. They strolled in silence, taking in the beauty of the night. The sound of a stream babbled in the distance, and the scent of blooming cherry blossoms filled the air. Emiko felt at peace, as though she had found a sense of belonging in this village. Hiro smiled, noticing the look on her face. "You are welcome to stay with us for as long as you like," he said, his voice gentle. Emiko's eyes sparkled with gratitude, and she nodded, feeling a sense of wonder and joy. As they walked, the sound of wind chimes carried through the air, and the scent of incense wafted from the house. Yumi was preparing for bed, and the smell of her soft fabrics filled the room. Emiko felt a sense of tiredness, and Hiro noticed. "It is late," he said, "and you must be tired. Come, let us go back to the house, and you can rest." Emiko nodded, feeling grateful for the kindness of these strangers who had become like friends. As they walked back to the house, the stars shone brighter, and the moon cast a silver glow over the village. Emiko felt at peace, surrounded by the beauty of nature, and the love of Hiro and Yumi. She knew that she would never forget this night, and the sense of wonder that had filled her heart. As they walked back to the house, the sound of wind chimes grew softer, and the scent of incense filled the air. Emiko felt her eyelids growing heavy, and her steps slowed. Hiro and Yumi noticed, and they smiled at each other. Yumi opened the door, and a warm light spilled out into the night. Emiko stepped inside, feeling the softness of the floor beneath her feet. The room was quiet, and the air was filled with the scent of Yumi's soft fabrics. Hiro gestured to a small bed in the corner, and Emiko lay down, feeling the softness of the blankets. Yumi brought her a small pillow, and Emiko rested her head, feeling her body relax. Hiro and Yumi sat beside her, watching her with kind eyes. "Sleep well, Emiko," Hiro said, his voice gentle. "You are safe here." Emiko smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. She closed her eyes, and the sound of Hiro's voice grew softer. The room was quiet, and the only sound was the gentle hum of crickets outside. Yumi stood up and walked to the window, closing the shutters. The room grew darker, and the air grew cooler. Emiko felt her breathing slow, and her body relax. She was surrounded by the kindness of Hiro and Yumi, and the beauty of the village. As she drifted off to sleep, she felt a sense of wonder and a sense of peace. The stars shone brightly outside, and the moon cast a silver glow over the village. The sound of the stream babbled in the distance, and the scent of blooming cherry blossoms filled the air. Emiko's dreams were filled with visions of the village and the people she had met. She dreamed of Hiro's stories and Yumi's kindness. She dreamed of the beauty of the night and the peace that had filled her heart. As the night wore on, the village grew quieter, and the stars shone brighter. The moon reached its peak in the sky, and the world was bathed in a soft, silver light. Emiko slept, surrounded by the peace and beauty of the village. Hiro and Yumi sat beside her, watching her with kind eyes. They smiled at each other, feeling grateful for the presence of this stranger who had become like a friend. The room was quiet, and the air was filled with the scent of Yumi's soft fabrics. The sound of crickets grew softer, and the world grew still. As the night wore on, everything became quiet, and everything became still. Emiko slept, surrounded by the peace and beauty of the village. The stars shone brightly outside, and the moon cast a silver glow over the world. The village was at peace, and Emiko was at peace. The world was quiet, and the darkness was filled with the softness of the night. Emiko's breathing was slow, and her body was relaxed. She was surrounded by the kindness of Hiro and Yumi, and the beauty of the village. As the night wore on, everything became quieter, and everything became stiller. The world was at peace, and Emiko was at peace. The darkness was filled with the softness of the night, and the stars shone brightly outside. The moon cast a silver glow over the world, and the village was bathed in a soft, peaceful light. Emiko slept, surrounded by the peace and beauty of the village, and the kindness of Hiro and Yumi. The world was quiet, and the darkness was filled with the softness of the night. Everything was still, and everything was at peace.